Yo guys, welcome back to another Rezero video. Okay, so I'm gonna try something that I don't or haven't done before in the past, and that's usually this mostly because of lacking confidence in the amount of knowledge that I have in the game. But it's been a while now. Like, I'm coming up on quite a few login days, to be fair. And I've had the privilege of being part of a Discord that is very big on sharing information, teaching people, helping people, and they've been very accepting of the fact that I am trying to be a content creator for this game, and I am trying to provide information for people that need said information. So in saying that, I was lucky enough to be part of the voice chat in which they updated update their tier list within that Discord for PvP and PvE. Now, I'm not covering the PvE tier list because PvE, regardless of the minor differences in who you're fighting, i.e. whatever weird mechanic you have to counter, say like self-healing or something like that, for the most part is the same. You debuff, you buff, you nuke. So PvE tier list, I probably will cover them at some point, but it's not going to be a priority. What I am doing is I am going to cover the PvP tier list. Now, in saying that, let me just make sure that I did grab the right tier list and it wasn't the PvE one that I grabbed. I'm pretty sure. No, okay, it was definitely the PvP tier list. Okay, so we're gonna jump straight in. I'm not covering all of the units. I'm sorry, I know this is the first PvP tier list, but I do not have time. My head is killing me, and I'm pretty sure no one wants to sit here and watch me go through why each and every single one of these units are in the spot that they are. It'd end up like an hour-long video, and I don't want that. You don't want that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cover the bigger changes that have recently happened, in terms of units being bumped up or bumped down, and then the new units that have come out over Christmas and New Year's. So to be fair, I'm only going to cover two changes that were made to this PvP tier list, and one is going to be the Teresia. Now, the fall of Teresia was a dramatic one, and it came about due to the existence of this Christmas Emilia. Christmas Emilia basically has the ability to buff seal, and Teresia's skill 1, is it skill 1? I'm pretty sure it's skill 1. Giving the ability to be invulnerable for damage for 2 turns counts as a buff. So she has all but been countered by the sheer existence of Christmas Emilia, so she had to drop down to A+. Now, obviously, you can still run her, and at certain times in the same battles, that skill will still be viable and usable and helpful and still win you some fights. But when coming against a Christmas Emilia, you will get cucked. And then the second movement here is right here. Why do I keep forgetting her name? Anastasia, that's it. It took me a second. It literally took me a second to remember what her name was. She has the ability to remove all buffs from enemies and all debuffs from allies. So incredibly strong, exceptionally strong. It is what it is. She's been bumped up. Now let's get into the newer units, and we're going to start off at the bottom here. We're going to look at the Christmas Priscilla. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I run her. I use her on my blue team, mainly because I spam her basic skill, which has a 100% chance to apply a defense debuff, and that's all I use her for. And even then, there are units that do it better, and there are units that have better stats overall. But the reason the main reason I believe she isn't that great is her passive. Now, her passive, being her skill 1, gives her at max level a 50% chance to buff seal an enemy when you attack them. The problem here is it's only 50% chance, and it would be a waste of resources to try and just build a team around her to increase her debuff success rate. Especially when you can just find units that have a 100% chance to buff seal anyway. Even like, I'm pretty sure the purple Beatrice has a buff seal, if I'm not mistaken, or is it a health seal? I'm not sure. But even the Christmas Emilia, if you don't have her, but Christmas Emilia buff seals, like I just said, the problem is she doesn't have great stats. Like, her attack is below 1,000, her agility is 155, so it's average. Now, she does have a 1000% modifier on her skill 2, but it's single target. with a 100, and the only debuff included on that is it decreases attack but for 2 turns. So overall, a very replaceable unit in both PvE and PvP. Is not going to stand out in PvP. Please don't take her to PvP. She's not going to help you. She has terrible stats. Her passive makes her a coin flip as to whether she's even going to be useful in the fight for you. It's not worth it all. Moving on to the next unit, and this I'm proud of. I'm proud to say that I actually pulled this unit, and it's he hits exceptionally hard, and it is the New Year's Reinhardt. Now, when I saw him, I already sort of realized that he was better than the original Reinhardt, but not by much, not significantly, but he is stronger. Both will do amazing damage, but both require a certain amount of support from the team to make sure that they stay alive. Now here's the thing with this Reinhardt, he does debuffs are not a thing for him. Basically, if you apply debuffs, his skill 1 passive allows him to remove all debuffs at max level, a 100% chance to remove all debuffs. And that's and a 20% chance to reduce cooldowns of his like the turns of these. English LD. No, he has a 20% chance on his passive skill 1 to reduce cooldowns by 1 turn as well. So no point debuffing him. It's not that big of a deal. He does have a 4-turn cooldown on his skill 2, which is like the cooldown itself is not thing, but like the skill itself, I can understand why it has a 4-turn cooldown. It is busted. Basically, his skill 2 is an AoE that attacks, an AoE that has 250% power modifier that ignores defense. Ignores defense, man. Couple that with the fact that he has an attack stat of 1549, he is going to hurt whatever he hits. But it also comes with a 50% chance to inflict damage over time 3 times for 2 turns. Now, I'm not sure how damage over time is calculated. I don't know if it's max health or max health damage or damage based on the amount of damage done by the skill it was applied on, if that makes sense. But either way, damage over time 3 times for 2 turns. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt a lot. But the problem is it's only a 50% chance. So if you are going to run him, you do need to provide him with a little bit of support. One being that he is relatively easy to kill, because that's the only way to counter him. You can't debuff him, he removes those. So you need to just kill him. And at the same time, you need to increase his debuff success rate. Not a huge deal, but still a deal nonetheless. He does require that bit of support for him to be useful, and in which case you're throwing a lot of you're throwing support at one particular unit rather than, you know, utilizing other support that could be used for the whole team. It kind of makes him the core of the team, if you get my drift. And in a game like this, you really do need to balance out where your utility and support is being thrown. I'm not saying he's not worth it. I'm telling you right now, as someone that owns him, he is worth. He will do the dirt. He will do damage. It's just whether you have the ability to support him in the ways that he needs. So we are going on. I will say also his leader skill is relatively useless currently. He gives yellow allies 35% attack. Kind of redundant for the most part, given that we have 2 yellow Reinhardts, a yellow Emilia, and yellow Ram 2 would probably work. But as a whole, if you have all of those units, please don't run them together. That would make a terrible team. There is no, beyond the Ram, there is no utility there. It would not be worth. So yeah, his leader skill, not the greatest, but not the worst. Moving on to the New Year's Felt, who you can see in the row just above him right here. I will say this, she has incredible stats incredible speed, I should say. She has horrendous attack. She has 891 attack at max level now. Fine, that's not a big deal, considering she's supposed to be designed for utility. So she's supposed to be quick, and she's supposed to help the team. She's not supposed to do as much damage as everyone else. So we'll go through her kit real quickly. She increases Felt camp allies HP by 40%. That's always going to be useful in PvP. Gaining an additional 40% health, 40% maximum health I should say, is going to be incredibly helpful. She's sitting on 16,420 HP, so she's relatively beefy compared to the Reinhardt, that is. But her agility stat is sitting at 170 at max level. Okay, yeah, that's stupid fast. She's gonna outspeed basically everyone. Now, when we come down to her kit here, her basic skill is a single attack with 400% power, has a 100% chance to increase defense for 2 turns. Now, that's a self-defense increase, which is cool. You know, you want to keep her alive as long as possible, and given her utility, she may become the target of the enemy team relatively quickly. Now, no, it's not live PvP. Let's just hope the AI isn't smart enough to focus her. But her skill 1 is a passive. If the enemy uses an ability that increases their agility, she restores at max level 40% of the maximum HP of all of her allies. Now, if you couple that with her leader skill, you essentially create an entire team of tanks with the ability to heal them almost every turn someone increases their agility, with the exception of if the enemy team uses the exact same felt. If you're against someone with the exact same felt and they use their skill 2 to increase the entire team's agility, your passive will not proc. As far as I think, that's my taking and understanding of it, but it is what it is. Anyway, so skill 2 is a single enemy attack, but 800% power, 100% chance to increase all allies' agility by 70%, and a 100% chance to increase all allies' defense for 1 turn. So a 70% agility buff and a defense buff all in one move. I mean, yeah, all right, she's not going to hurt anyone, but that's neither here nor there. She's just buffed the entire team's agility by 70%. That is almost team breaking. Like, you can turn the tide of a whole fight in just that one skill. And in all honesty, I think that alone, like, if you couple that, so put the leader skill, her agility, her passive, and her skill 2, all of that, yeah, she deserves to be S tier, and give it a few more weeks, she may prove to be double S. This is just my opinion here, but it does depend. I mean, to be fair, at the same time, she is equally countered by Christmas Emilia, who buff seals, so we'll see. I mean, I think she's faster. Maybe I think they've got the same speed, or roughly around the same speed, so it will be a coin toss as to who goes first with the whole buff ceiling. But in saying that, we are going to move on to the next unit, and that is the Christmas Emilia, like, whose sheer existence changed the meta of PvP, theoretically. So her leader skill is kind of meh in PvP, like debuff chance increased by 50%. Now in PvE, yeah, fantastic. Her attack is 1276, so not terrible. Not the highest we've seen, but not terrible. I would say it's good. Her agility is 170. Stupid, right there, as fast as felt. She has the ability to remove 1 buff from a single enemy on her basic skill. A 100% chance to remove a buff, by the way. Her skill 1, actually, skill 1 passive is crazy. If an enemy uses an ability that increases their agility, she buffs her own agility by 80% at max level and removes 1 self debuff. That's so mad. Like, basically, so if you boost your agility, she boosts her agility and removes a debuff while she's at it. That's busted, especially if she's only got an agility debuff on her, in which case she's turned the whole strategy around. And then her skill 2, an AoE buff seal, 500% damage, and decreases enemies' agility for 2 turns. This is broken by far. This is one of the most broken things I've seen in PvP for a while. The ability to just remove anyone's chance of applying buffs is crazy, and definitely broken enough to deserve the double S tier. And now we're going to move on to the 2 sisters that overthrew a dynasty here. Now, this yellow Emilia has been top of the tier list, both tier lists, for such a long time, but we're going to cover the Ram first. Okay, so we are going to cover the RAM first, and I'm going to tell you right now, both of these sisters are tremendously broken, in my opinion, and I'm so glad while I was sitting there listening to the voice chat that other people agreed with me. I was such a coward. I sat there and I was like, bro, I know RAM and Rem are broken, but I don't want to say nothing. And, you know, I was sitting there and I'm like, yeah, I was right. They are broken, and everyone agrees. Anyway, saying that, we're going to go over her kit. She... allies debuff resistance plus 40%. That is in my opinion, that's a good leader skill. Like, not the best, but still pretty decent. 1080 attack, not fantastic. I would, you know, it's okay. It's not great at all. But then the fact is, I don't think she's designed for damage. She covers and has so much utility. She's obviously not designed to do damage. Average agility here sitting at 155. Her basic skill, single magic attacks a single enemy, 400% power, 100% chance to decrease agility for 2 turns. Okay, not fantastic. It's a generic basic attack. Use it where you need it. However, skill 1 magically attacks a single enemy for 600% power with a 100% chance to stun them and remove all of their buffs. Now, you can basically pinpoint the core member of the enemy team, the person you know is going to do all the damage, the person they're lining up all the buffs for, and just stun them, remove all those buffs. You completely destroy the enemy team's buff and debuff rotations, forcing them to start again, especially if they have 1 DPS and 3 supports. You've just caused a tremendous issue. This is such a strong skill. Being able to stun and remove buffs, it just ensures that whatever strategy the enemy team had, the timing and turn rotations have been thrown out of whack. But it doesn't stop there. Skill 2, an AoE, 400% power, 100% chance to decrease the enemy's debuffs by 3 turns and decrease agility by 30%. Now, for a 3-turn debuff, you're crazy. You are crazy. That in itself is busted nonetheless. Like, most debuffs are 2 turns long, but to lower defense and agility. Okay, so what you've done is you've set your team up to be faster and to do way more damage. This is going to support Yellow Emilia, even the New Year's Reinhardt. It will support him so well, given what it does. Like, it basically just throws you ahead of the enemy team, making sure they're gonna take more damage, and then you can nuke the crap out of them. It's so broken and so strong. But now we're gonna move on to the final unit of this tier list, which is the Christmas Rem. Sadly, the only one I wanted to pull for, the only one I did try and pull for, and I didn't get her. But we're gonna go over her kit now. Okay, so moving on to the Rem. Oh my god. Okay, so Emilia Camp Allies attack plus 35% straight off the bat as a leader skill is ridiculously strong. They all have relatively good attack, so a 35% buff to that. Wow. Did I mention she has 1,643 attack? That's what? 156 agility, so sitting at the average agility, just 1 over. But we're going to go over her kit, and I'm going to explain why she's so broken and why she deserves the double S tier. Now, her basic skill is a single attack, 400% power, 100% chance to decrease attack for 2 turns. Again, standard stuff, use it where you need it. But then we're going to move on to skill 1, passive. At the start of the turn, a 100% chance to recover, and at max level, 10% of all allies' HP. Excuse me, what? She basically heals 10% of your whole team's health every turn, and then has a 50% chance to remove a debuff. Okay, yeah, I mean, that's the cherry on the top right there. A coin flip as to whether you can remove a debuff. I'll take it. That in itself, I mean, without the healing, that's just stupid. Without the debuff removal, the healing alone is just stupid. But her skill 2, an AoE, 800% power. Let's say it with me, 800% power with 1600 attack as an AoE. 800% power, and for each ally recover 20% HP for every ally, and removes 1 debuff. Increases agility by 2 for 2 turns. So let me get this right. You're gonna nuke the entire enemy team, heal your entire team by 20% of their maximum HP, and then remove 1 debuff and increase agility for 2 turns. Excuse me? Excuse you? What? Yo, she's busted. I mean, literally, when I was reading out their stats the first time when I was doing translations, I knew that this Rem was broken, and I'm so heartbroken I couldn't pull her. Anyway, guys, I've rambled for long enough. This is the tier list video. If you have questions, suggestions, comments, just drop them in the comment section. I'll reply to everyone I can. Big shout out to you guys over at the Rezero Discord. The link will be in the description. Big thank you. Without you guys, I wouldn't know anything about this game in terms of like how it works, the mechanics, or anything like that. You've been incredibly patient, incredibly helpful. So thank you very much. Anyway, guys, that is going to be it. I hope you did enjoy the video. Please make sure to drop a like if you did. Subscribe if you're not. Social media links in the description. And as always, guys, I love you very much, and I'll catch you later.